Ryan White was born on December 6, 1971 in Kokomo, Indiana. When he was 3 years old, the doctors informed his parents that he had hemophilia, an inherited disease in which the blood does not clot. People who have this disease are vulnerable since the injury, as simple as a paper cut, can lead to a dangerous bleeding. Fortunately for White and his parents, a new treatment called Factor VII recently had been approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, or better known as the FDA. This treatment is made from blood and contains the clotting agent that allows healthy people to heal quickly from wounds. In December of 1984, when he was 13, White contracted pneumonia and had surgery to remove a part of his left lung. After 2 hours of surgery, his doctors told his parents that he had contracted an incurable disease of Acquired Immunodeficiency Syndrome, or AIDS, through his Factor VII blood transfusions. White's doctors told him that he had 6 months to live, but White decided that he would continue to live a normal life, attend school, and spend time with his friends. White had not counted on the ignorance, fear, and hatred that he would encounter in his small hometown of Kokomo, Indiana. At first, people there claimed that there were no health guidelines for people with AIDS to attend a normal school. Even after Indiana's State Board of Health set guidelines saying that it would be safe for other children if White attended school, the school board, his teachers, and the principal tried to keep him out of school. They feared he would spread the disease, and even though it was known by that time that AIDS could not be spread by casual contact, White and his mother took the case to court. Eventually they agreed to meet their neighbors' concerns by having White use separate restroom, not to take gym class, drink out of a separate water fountain, and use disposable eating utensils and trays at lunch. Even so, 20 students pulled out of their school by their parents, who started their own school to keep their children from having any contact with White. The townspeople's ignorance and fear regarding AIDS led him to become a target of jokes, and some lies spread about him biting people, spitting on vegetables and cookies. Restaurants threw away their dishes that he had eaten from, and students vandalized his locker, writing obscenities and anti-gay slurs, because at the time AIDS was believed to be a disease primarily of gay men. An even more frightening incident occurred when someone fired a bullet in White's home. He received thousands of letters supporting his right to go to school and meet politicians, movie stars, and top athletes, all of whom supported him. He appeared on numerous television programs including CBS News, The Today Show, Sally Jessy Raphael, Phil Donahue, Hour Magazine, The Home Show, Peter Jennings Person of the Week, Nightline, West 57th Street, PM Magazine, Entertainment Tonight, and Primetime Live. White was also featured on the cover of Saturday Evening Post, Picture Week, and People magazines. There was also an ABC movie, The Ryan White Story, was made about his life. Ryan acted in the movie playing his best friend Chad, and Judith Light even played his mother. In 1987, using the money from his movie, the Whites moved their family to Cicero, Indiana, where they found acceptance. On April 8, 1990, Ryan White lost his battle to AIDS in Cicero, Indiana. During his short 18-year-old life, he accomplished many more than many people who lived long, healthy lives. His activism and legacy of concern for others with HIV and AIDS remains. Shortly after his death, White's mother went to Congress to speak to politicians on behalf of people with AIDS. White's activism and that of his mother, Jean, helped AIDS patients all over the United States receive care that they would otherwise could not have afforded. The public was also educated about the nature of the disease. Just a few months after White's death, Congress passed PL 101-381, the Ryan White Comprehensive AIDS Resources Emergency Care Act. The act is administered by Health Resources and Services Administration and aims to improve the quality of care for low-income and uninsured individuals and families with HIV and AIDS who do not have access to care. The act supports locally developed care systems, and it's founded on partnership between the U.S. federal government, states, and local communities. It emphasizes outpatient, primary, and preventive care in order to prevent overuse of expensive emergency room and inpatient facilities. Between the Act's authorization in 1991 and May of 1996, nearly $2.8 billion of federal funds were appropriated to provide care for more than 500 low-income Americans living with HIV or AIDS. From 93 to 96, funding for the program increased from $348 million to $738.5 million. The Act was reauthorized in May 1996 and continues to provide care to Americans living with HIV or AIDS. Ryan White, his activism, his courage still lives on in many of us, in our hearts and in our souls. I'm going to quote him now from when he was actually addressing the Presidential Commission about living as a young man with HIV and being a hemophiliac, and also what his reaction was to moving to a more acceptant space with his mother and his sister. A bleed occurs from a broken blood vessel in a vein. The blood then has nowhere to go, so it would swell up in a joint. You can compare it to trying to pour a quart of milk into a pint-sized container of milk. I spent Christmas and the next 30 days in the hospital. A lot of my time was spent searching, thinking, and planning my life. I came face to face with death at 13 years old. I was labeled a troublemaker, my mom an unfit mother, and I was not welcomed anywhere. People would get up and leave so they would not have to sit anywhere near me. Even at church, people would not shake my hand. For the first time in 3 years, we felt we have a home, a supportive school, and lots of friends. I am a normal, happy teenager again. I have a learner's permit. I attend school sports functions and dances. My studies are important to me. I made the honor roll just recently, with 2 A's and 2 B's. I believe in myself, and I look forward to graduating from Hamilton Heights High School in 1991. I've seen how people with HIV and AIDS are treated, and I don't want others to be treated like I was. From Ryan White's book, I quote this in Ryan White's words. I had plenty of time back then to think about why people were being mean. Of course, it was because they were scared. Maybe it was because I wasn't that different from everybody else. I wasn't gay. I wasn't into drugs. I was just another kid from Kokomo. I didn't even look sick. Maybe that made me more of a goblin to some people. Ryan White, December 6, 1971 to April 8, 1990.